volunteers rode through the snow toward Black Kettle and White Antelope's sleeping camp at Sand Creek.
Two women were out picking up wood when they seen what they thought was buffalo, but it wasn't buffalo, and they threw down their sticks and started screaming and running towards the camp.
Cheyenne George Bent was startled awake.
I heard shouts and the noise of people running about the camp. I jumped up and ran out of my lodge. From down the creek, a large body of troops was advancing at a rapid trot. I looked toward the chief's lodge and saw Black Kettle had a large American flag tied to the end of a long lodge pole and was standing in front of his lodge holding the pole.
Chief Black Kettle, he was out there in front protecting his people to show them that he wasn't afraid. And he was trying to tell them that, you know, we made peace, we're at peace.
Then the troops opened fire from two sides of the camps. The women and children were screaming and wailing. The men running to their lodges for their arms and shouting advice and directions to one another. White Antelope saw the soldiers shooting the people, and he did not wish to live any longer.
My great-great-grandfather, White Antelope, he felt heartbreak that another treaty had been broken. A peace that they had been seeking for a long time had been shattered, had been broken.
White Antelope stood in front of his lodge with his arms folded across his breast, singing the death song.
And he cried. He sung his song. Nothing lives long. Raised his arms. Nothing lives long but the earth and the mountains.
White Antelope, wearing the peace medal given him by President Lincoln, was shot dead in front of his lodge. Black Kettle and his wife ran toward the creek bed where people were desperately digging into the sand for protection. Before they could reach it, Black Kettle's wife was shot. Believing her dead, he ran on without her.
Most of us who were hiding in the pits had been wounded before we could reach the shelter. And there we lay all that bitter cold day, from early in the morning until almost dark, with the soldiers all around us, keeping up a heavy fire most of the time. They finally withdrew about 5 o'clock. As they retired down the creek, they killed all the wounded they could find. That night will never be forgotten as long as any of us who went through it are alive. Many who had lost wives, husbands, and children, or friends, went back down the creek and crept over the battleground among the naked and mutilated bodies of the dead. Few were found alive, for the soldiers had done their work thoroughly. George Bent, Southern Cheyenne.
Over 500 Southern Cheyenne people died. Black Kettle found his wife with 9 bullet wounds in her body, but miraculously, she was alive. The survivors straggled into another Cheyenne camp, while Shivington returned to Denver with over 100 Cheyenne scalps.
My people were massacred. Terrible thing. Their spirits are still there at the massacre site. They'll never rest.
Despite his loss, Black Kettle saw no hope in resistance. In 1868, his beleaguered band was camped along the Washita River on a government reservation. At dawn on November 27, 1868, almost 4 years to the day after the Sand Creek Massacre, U.S. Army troops under the command of George Armstrong Custer attacked the sleeping village. Black Kettle, his wife, and over 100 of his people were killed. The Cheyenne leader's quest for peace had come to a final bitter end, costing him his lands, his freedom, and the lives of the people he had tried so desperately to protect.